Welcome to the Outer Realm with MicheleDerocher and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday night segment of The Outer Realm. We're broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 from the Gulf Coast, 107.7 from beautiful New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee who have been a part of our journey for the last 4 to 5 years. So thank you, Folgers. We couldn't do it without you, nor would we want to. In fact, last night was episode 500, and that is due to your support. Thank you. So also big thank you to Justin Snicker, a.k.a. Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, for the contribution of his time, his music, and his voice for the intro you just heard. He's an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which can be found on all of your favorite music streaming platforms. Also big thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind the banners and logos here at the show. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. Also specializes in the horror genre, but does great commission pieces of any sort. So tonight, we're a bit of a treat. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight, but it's going to be also very informative. We're bringing on, I have to say my dear friend, because he's in here and he'll kill me, but no, he really is. We kind of do a little bit of this, but we love each other, so it works. But anyway, UPRN owner, producer, and host Joe Montaldo joins us to discuss the influx of worldwide sighting of, I don't know, drones, UFOs, I'm trying to lump it together, UAPs and UFOs. So what are they? Why are they here? And what are they doing all over the darn planet, it seems? Are we looking at the onset of Project Bluebeam? Are we looking at something that's literally out of this world? Are we looking at our own stuff? And if so, why? What is going on with all that? So before we get started, just big shout out to everybody who's joining us in chat. Holy cow. You guys are really, this chat's like on freaking fire right now. We've got like just 24 people in X. Welcome, X. We can see your comments in the chat. Please put them up. Rumble, we can see your comments in the chat. Please comment away and we'll put it up. So yeah, it's really taking off. So hello, Wayne. Hello, Dolly. Hello, Mark, Eddie, Michelle. Hello. Oh my God, Catherine. Hello, Melissa. My gosh, it's great to see you guys. And foot of the crochet trend. I know he's in the back there. It's got to have his like one little thing in there. I'm just redoing things, so I was just trying to work around things. The chair he's on is bigger than the chair I'm on, so a little bit problematic. We just had a sighting in Eugene, Oregon. A couple of pilots seen lights, several of them on December 17th. See, this is happening. So what I've tried to do is as we go along, I went on X and got quite a few little videos. So I'll put them up and we can have a little look and see, and just to give us an example of what people are actually seeing out there. So without further ado, our grand poobah, Joe.
See, y'all almost caught me surfing on the web.
Well, is that for you, Bart?
Hello, Bart. How are you tonight? We're going to use this voice on it. Oh, yeah, I know after the first show, I won't be able to recognize me. I won't have a beard or a mustache.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Yes, I will look crazy.
Great.
Yes, I will look like one of them guys, you know. You never know.
I don't quite know what that is.
It's it's one of those movies where they stab you to death.
Great.
No, it's for a TV part. That's all I can say.
That's good.
Well, no, I'm hoping they change their mind, actually. No, I mean, I shave it off every 10 years anyway, but, you know, still.
Well,
It has to go from time to time. It's one of those things. What kind of trouble you been into? First, you've been bullying your co-host. Yeah, she bullies her co-host. Shame on her. I mean,
I
she
know,
does.
I know,
I
I
was I
know.
was I was talking with Amelia about it today. It's just sad. Amelia's like, nah, she's just
You know,
sad.
you're telling stories and you're just purposely trying to make me look bad. It won't work because my people love me.
No,
So
look at that pretty Christmas tree
just
back there.
saying.
Just for y'all.
Yeah, yeah,
There
yeah.
is a skull
I,
back there, but the skull's always back there. So
yeah,
Halloween, Christmas, it doesn't matter. Bob
I
the
know.
alien is always there.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of weird stuff flying around the sky. Wednesday night or last night, we were talking about it, and we were talking about stuff we'd seen in the past that looks like stuff that we see today, and versions of the Foo Fighters that look like they're the same versions in the 40s that are flying around today, which is kind of strange. And then there's all these weird drones that no one seems to give a what about.
Mm, that's that's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing. They seem to care more about squirrels who are being held as pets and not in captivity,
I don't.
and demising those poor little things, disappearing those poor little things, and they do trying to figure out what this is all about. And why would you think that? Is it because maybe they're behind it, or do you think like
I don't think they know who the hell's behind it. Is what the problem is. But for some reason, they're not perceiving it as a threat. But the drones they're talking about. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you hear us talk about drones, we're not talking about these little things you go buy at Walmart or whatever store you
mm,
shop at, Target or whoever it may be, whatever toy store you may get them from. These are no, these aren't even like the prospector drones are like 5,000-6,000. No, these are like 50, 60, 70, $80,000 drones. These
mm,
things are mini baby planes with no pilots in them that can fly all over the place. And you know
mm,
they're drones because they do have their starboard and aft lights. You'll see them blinking, blink, 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 red and green, red and green, red and green,
mm,
red and green. So you know what they are, and then you can make it out by the lights that they're drones. But they're expensive drones. They're long range drones, which means they can be flown for hundreds of miles away. They don't necessarily have to be from that area to be there.
mm,
Now, we know the Chinese have been buying up a lot of land in the United States around military facilities and other stuff, so they could be flying them. Other
mm,
people could be flying them. People who just want to create anarchy could be flying them, or something else could be flying them. There are some groups that were doing this back, oh God, around 2016, 2018. They were flying mini drones to see if they could attract extraterrestrial craft by emulating some of the sounds or visions that people had said that they had experienced near a craft, but I don't
mm.
think it worked too well. In the 70s, they sent up a bunch of pink and green and blue clouds to try to get the UFOs to chase them. And
So
yeah,
in saying that, I just want to back up one quick moment. You're not a stranger to this stuff because you served on the Nimitz. The Nimitz is no stranger to this sort of stuff either. You know, a lot of stuff out there in the open seas, right?
yeah. Well, the Nimitz, all the pilots on the Nimitz have seen something. There's been
Mhm,
other exchanges on the Nimitz where the president was involved. There's been other exchanges where there were close encounters of other
mhm,
types. The Nimitz is just a crappy. Well, at the time it was a flagship. So when I
mhm,
served on it, it was a flagship. So it was always the one in the middle of everything, and it tended to attract a lot of attention. But
mhm.
it was in '83 is when the meeting when they said that the president was brought on board, and then there was a meeting with the UFOs. But the argument's always been did he land on the airplane that came in, or did he come off the UFO that landed on board the ship? There was always an argument about where the president actually came from.
And
So,
question is, whose UFO was it? Was it otherworldly, or was it a reverse engineered? Was it one of
oh no, it
ours?
from so when they talked about it. So first off, the Nimitz came to a complete stop. Okay, carriers, unless they're important, never come to a complete stop. It's just like a no rule. They just don't do it, especially
Mhm.
nuclear carriers. So it came to a complete stop. Everyone who said they either heard it or got a glimpse of it said it landed on the front part of the carrier ahead of the conning tower, and when it did, the ship did this.
That's big and heavy.
So yeah, it's big
Mm.
and heavy, and they said it hung over both sides of the carrier. So I was kind of like, well, yeah, that's kind of big, man.
That's pretty big. Yeah.
I mean, most people describe the ship was still kind of listing forward. So I imagine
Mhm.
for sailors, it was a creepy feeling. And it went on for a while, and then whatever happened, whatever meetings happened, and then the ship left, and then helicopter came in and took the president off. I think it was a helicopter, that's probably what it was. But and it was funny. There was no ritz and glamour. It wasn't like the president, like they, usually a dignitary comes by, everybody gets in dress uniforms, they get out on the deck, they stretch out all over the place. Everybody's saluting and stuff. There was none of that went on. And all I remember is we were 2 days out of port. And there was a rumor floating around, everybody's going to have to sign this. Didn't matter where you were on board the ship, whether you seen something you didn't. Everyone had to sign a disclosure agreement. Everyone on the ship did. And anybody from the way it worked out, anybody who had any view shot or seen anything, they signed there was a 31-year disclosure agreement, a 36-year disclosure agreement, and then they made them re-up the agreement because it's still considered classified today.
Wow.
So now they're going to come arrest you because you live in Canada and you know about this. So
they're going to arrest you because you're the one that blabbed it all up.
No, they don't care if they don't care if I talk about it. They just don't like you Canadians knowing this kind of stuff.
They can still blame you for that. So
I just we got a lot of. What are you talking about? We don't know. First off, Michelle's a Canadian, so is her co-host. We have several hosts on there. 3 of the guests that was on last week with me were all Canadians. What are you talking about? We don't ever bring Canadians on. You're on crack, man. You're just on crack. I'm closing this. I'm moving this over here and not looking at it no more. Oh man! But I want to know what the drones are. I mean, and we talk about it all the time. But what are they? Who are they? What kind of drone? First off, who's got this money? These aren't government drones because they would be in big trouble for flying them like that. And what bothers me more than anything else is that the FAA doesn't seem to be interested. These drones are flying below certain altitudes, being seen in areas they shouldn't be being seen in, near airports and stuff. That's all a danger to flight. It's not just a danger to flight, it's a danger to other things. And I'm kind of like, they don't really care. Doesn't seem to be important.
There's some crazy things. Some of these don't even look like drones. I went on X because I like to peruse it for stuff like this. A lot of people will post their videos, and there's one on there that looks a whole lot like Ezekiel's wheel. It says this flying freaky thing. This was just it's crazy. And I was trying to find those photos. I did get the video clip, and I will bring it up and show it as we go along. And I thought this is kind of unusual. So these aren't like just typical drones or large drones.
No, there's a lot of weird, but you see, that's the thing with drones, though. You can do things with drones that you can't do with anything that anybody's got to sit in. So, like right now, you can fly a drone, you can make a saucer-shaped drone and have it doing loops around something or flinging around, or you can have it switching shapes. So if it's like a transformer drone, which they got several of those out now. And they're talking about making these full size. So they got these drones that are about, they're 5 by 5 foot, and they transform into different things. They want to make them full size now, like the ones you see in the cartoons and on the TV movies. Full size, 26, 36 foot tall drones that walk around squishing people.
So I don't know, it gets a bit crazy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show a couple of these as we go along, because I just want to see what people are posting. And this essentially is people out there, this is what they're seeing. So some of you people on X may have seen these already, but we have a lot of viewers, and we're going to put it up and of course give credit where credit is due. So here's one, and I'm just going to bring this forward and I'm going to play this. And this was posted by UFO Mania. And it says it's breaking a drone UFO UAP emerging from the ocean floor, again off New Jersey, which is a real hot spot right now. So here it is.
So what's off the coast of New Jersey? Anything interesting? Anybody know? Is something good out there? Is it a strategic spot for some reason or another? Not that I know of. I mean, as far as I know, New Jersey is just a boring ass place.
Just watch what it keeps doing.
It's just rolling its little happy self around.
So I don't know. I mean, that's not a typical drone, but it is a UAP. It's unidentified.
It could be. It could be fireball. It could be a fireball. It could be ball lightning. It's a couple things it could be. Ball lightning, by the way, is wicked looking.
Yes.
So the very first time I ever seen ball of lightning, I seen it in a swamp, and it was probably about 10 by 10, and it was going through the trees, and it was really
Mm-hmm.
creepy looking. And then we were near a railroad track one time, and there was one out there that was about this big around, and it
Mm-hmm.
was popping and dancing and jumping from track to track. And then it got on the electric wires and going across the top and was just rolling down. It was just so wicked looking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you looked at it, you think it's got to be some ET. I mean, it wasn't. It was just a phenomenon, but
Mm-hmm.
it was
Yeah.
weird to watch, people. I mean, if I hadn't had done research, I'd have probably thought it was some kind of weird something coming to get us, but it
Well,
was creepy.
there are all kinds of different ones. I'm going to show you. Here's one, and you tell me if you've ever seen a drone like this. So I'm going to put it up. I'm going to get it playing again. Credit goes to Enki. So it's a huge UAP footage on a highway near, this is in Beijing, okay? That is nothing I've seen before. More reports coming in from New Jersey. Okay, so here we go. Let's just play this one.
Actually, I'm not 100% sure. It looks like it's ascending.
Looks like
Well, so
I
on
don't
some
know.
of the Chinese pieces that come down from space, they
Mhm.
have marker lights on because they usually come down at night.
Right.
And now that doesn't, by the way, before anybody starts hating, I mean, it's not. It could be that, but it could be something else too.
I'm
I
just
was
showing
waiting to see if it
anomalies.
had. I was just waiting to
Yeah.
see if it had any spin to it, but
Yeah.
what for anybody who writes to me about debunking stuff, that's how I got my start in the field, right? Debunking people, because there were
Uh-oh.
so many people that was easy to debunk.
Right.
I mean, there was so much BS in here. I had to buy them kind of boots that hip weighted boots. I mean, it was ridiculous. It took a long time to wait. Hey, look, somebody's got to call that stuff out. You can't just let that stuff roll. It takes away
No.
from the good stuff.
Well, I agree. And again, I'm just putting up things that are spotted or being shown as they're just anomalies. And I don't, I really don't know if hold on a minute here. Hold on. Okay, 1 second. I don't know, and now with AI and different technology, uh, I mean, we don't really know for sure what we're looking at, and this is one of
Yeah, that's the truth too.
okay. So I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate for the most part here. Hold on. So we're gonna put this one up, and I'll just play it. So 1 second. I'll present. And we're going to go, hold on, present. We're going to go this one. We're going to go this one. All right. Now bear with me, guys, because I am curious. So this one here is from UFO spotted over Manchester from Oanasa. So thank you. Credit given. Here we go. I don't know. Thoughts?
It's hard to tell, depending on which way you want to look at it from. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, put a damn thing back up. I want to look at something.
All right. All right.
Oh,
Don't be hostile. God darn it.
I
Gosh
feel
darn
for you.
it. Okay.
I know you're probably driving through
You have no
manifestations.
clue. There it is. So what do
I
you want?
know
Want me to-
that's what scares me.
do you want me to play it? It looks
No,
like it's
no,
being
no.
taken from a window.
Okay, so I
Um,
just put it on full screen so I can actually see what's going on.
Okay. Go ahead.
So y'all know that, ladies and gentlemen, when you're watching this, there's a little thing down there. You can hit the little square and it goes full screen so you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, go ahead and play it.
Okay. 1 second. Let me just back it up a second. Here we go.
Okay. Right. Yeah, that's kind of familiar. So it's definitely a saucer. I guess some orbs riding alongside it, because at first I thought the orb was some kind of like a
Mm-hmm.
moon or something or planet or something.
Mm-hmm.
But is the UFO real or not? Ooh, it's 50-50. Something about the way the bottom lit up reminded me of something I had seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean it's fake, people. It just means it's 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's a 50% chance it's AI. I've seen some good AI. Matter of fact, I started working with some AI stuff today, and I think it's going to come out to be quite surprisingly good. And AI changes the game for everybody. It
Mm-hmm.
allows us to do stuff. well, we can do away with actors. Did y'all know that we don't have to have all these Hollywood actors peddling their influence anymore? Yes, because
Mm.
I've learned that you can program the AI, and today it's pretty realistic. So
Mhm.
it's and the more you do it, the better it gets.
Mhm.
Well, so just so pretty soon it's just going to be so hard to tell. It was already bad enough that you could go out and take a picture of an empty sky, crop in a UFO on your computer, download it back to your phone, upload it
Mhm.
back to your computer and back to your phone again, and no one couldn't even find the code, so it would always appear to be real.
Mhm.
It's the downside to digital. I mean, there's good sides to digital because you get so much crisper and cleaner pictures, but
Mhm.
that's the downside to digital.
Right.
But you know,
Wow.
ET. Somebody asked me just a little while ago, why would ET want to have anything to do with us backwater, back ass planet? Now we are
Mhm.
backwatered. I can't argue with that. We're way out. We're not even on a spiral arm. We're actually a little ways
Mhm.
away from it, just sitting in empty space, basically. Where they say, "Yeah, we're chilling, we're chilling." I don't even know how anybody finds us unless they're looking for us. So why would any ET really have an interest in us? I mean, really, technologically, I mean, we're just now getting interesting
Yeah.
to our own selves. I couldn't tell if we're getting interesting to them or not, but to our own selves, we are.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
it's to the point where I don't. There has to be maybe something more that we're just not seeing, something we're missing.
Well, I mean, you've seen all kinds of crafts. I mean, you have iCar. Tell us about iCar, and then before we continue on, because I want people to know, like, this is not your first kick at the can. You've been in this field for what, 30, 40 years?
Yes, well, I can tell you this. When I got in this field, this beard was a pretty brown color,
Mhm.
and I mean it's a pretty brown color. Now you see what it is. Um, I've been in the field. I hate to even admit this, almost 40 years, and I've been with iCar for 30. I
Mhm.
was with MUFON for about 10,
Mhm.
and you learn a lot. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot. There's just so much of it. There's so many people who have the need to fake stuff.
Mhm.
And when there's so much good stuff out there. But I got a question for everybody who's listening. Tell me why you can't find as many pictures today of new stuff as you could even in the 90s or the 80s or the 70s. Because
Mhm.
everybody has a phone, everybody has a camera now.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of.
Mhm.
Now, I know a lot of times things startle you and you don't instantly take a picture because, like today, some helicopter came rattling my house apart and I didn't have my camera, my phone with me, so I didn't get a picture. But still, in all, there's so many more people. There's a billion phones out there, 2 billion
Mhm.
phones. Everyone's got a camera. Why aren't we seeing more and better pictures of UFOs? We're
Mhm.
seeing drones and all sorts of other stuff, but why aren't we seeing alien craft?
Mhm.
Does anybody know why? Is there maybe only certain people can see alien craft? Is that what it is? I don't know. Gotta be a reason, though, because we know they're out there flying around because there's lots of video of them out there. It's
Mhm.
just, and when somebody tells you it's too real to be true, always keep that in mind because sometimes it's too good to be true. When you look at something and you're like, oh, I don't know, man, that's really, I mean, wow, that's really, really, really good. And
Mhm.
then, instantly part of your brain's like, that's a hoax. That's a hoax. Even though
Mhm.
it's not, sometimes it's not. Every now and then you get something lucky.
Mhm.
I'll pull something up in a minute, but it's,
Mm.
what the hell
So
was that?
what you're saying essentially is only certain people who can see these. So if that being the case, I mean, people who are posting these, there are multiple witnesses, but there have been cases. I know you and I've talked about this on other shows. There are cases where you have an entire crowd of people standing around with the sighting, and not everybody essentially is
Well,
seeing it.
so we'll do some big examples to make it easy on everybody. I know a lot of y'all listening tonight have heard of the Phoenix Lights, right? Phoenix Lights,
Mm,
pretty famous. Lynn
mhm,
Key Tai is really famous, good friend, I like her.
mhm,
So Phoenix has, I think, 2 million people living in it. It's a lot of people. So
mm,
not only were these things seen in real time, they were actually broadcasted over the news waves. So a question, I think maybe 8,000 people saw.
mhm,
Why is that? What happened to the other 2 million people, and then the people living in the valley and the surrounding area? I mean, this didn't last for just a few minutes. This lasted for quite some time.
mhm,
It was on the news. People were going outside looking. Why didn't they see it?
mm.
Why did only the people along the mountain ridge see it and a few other select people? Why? I
Mhm.
mean, same thing, Mexico City. Big, huge UFO pulls over, parks over the city. It's like something out of a horror movie, right
Mhm.
out of one of these sci-fi movies. 1 million people reported seeing it. But Mexico City has 22 million people.
Mhm.
Okay, why didn't the other 21 million people see it? I mean, it was on the news. They were doing it live on the news. I mean, the mayor got on TV because he was seeing it. He was watching, sitting underneath the thing, talking about it. And people are walking around like, why is that?
Mhm. I
More
just
than likely because you've been taken, people. If you see them, more than likely you have been taken. You've been on board this ship, which makes you immune to whatever bullshit they use to hide it from the public. Think about it.
Mhm.
These things fly around all the time. We don't ever see them. But people who have been on board or seen them, a lot of times will see them. They'll catch them out
Mhm.
of the corner of the eye, and then they'll zoom in, and they know what it is. It doesn't hide it from your brain. But you can't run around and say anything because everybody standing around you is going to be like, "What are you talking about? There's nothing up there, dude. You're cracked up." But
Mm.
yet your friends a lot of times will see it because people have been taken tend to hang out with people like minds, I guess would be a better way of saying it.
Mm.
People who have similar interests, which
Mhm.
means more than likely they've been taken to. So that's probably what I see. I can't prove it, guys. It's not 100%, but I mean, we've got a lot of cases on file in iCar, and it seems to be the way it pans out. It just seems to work out that way. I
Mhm.
mean, it's like psychic abilities. Everybody always tells me everybody's got psychic abilities. I know Michelle believes that. She tells me it all the time. But it's not true, and I can prove it. You don't understand. I want everyone to have psychic abilities because if everyone has them, the more people that have them, the faster we mature, the faster our abilities mature, the more we learn, the more we can use. And
Mhm.
eventually we'll even develop telekinesis. But there's a problem.
Mhm.
And people, this is easy. Go get some
Mhm.
cookies or some brownies or something. Go to your local mall. Ask them if you can set up and you want to do psychic testing in the mall. Okay. Put up a little sign. You'll be surprised. You get an easy 100 people a day. Easy. We've done
Mhm.
this many times, probably more than 50, 100 times. So you go and you set it up and you do the simple one. You do the colored card test. This is 101 baby ESP. Okay. You can't get any easier than this. So you put them down there, you sit the person individual, and you ask them which card. Two colors. I'm gonna tell you the color of the cards. I'm even gonna give you a break and not make you fish the color out. I'm gonna tell you it's blue and red. Which one's which?
Mhm.
95% of people never get it right. They don't even get 50-50 right. It's kind of sad. It's like the kind of people when you flip a quarter, flip a quarter, flip a quarter, you should always get it 50% right. Well, that never happens that way. You
Ah,
either go
cal
over on the
John makes a good point. Calcified pineal glands, very hard.
it's so you get all of these other people out there that's supposed to have them but really don't. And there's other coincidental things about psychic abilities.
Mhm.
All contactees have them.
Mhm.
So is it something to do with their original contact way back in the day with their gifts and it's only inside that particular breeding group? We also know, and you don't have to take my word for this, thanks to the Air Force and the Navy, we know this for a fact, that RH negative people tend to have more improved and better abilities when it comes to telepathic and empathic abilities. Their words. So in 2020, 2000, I'm sorry, NASA and the Air Force ended their programs with people like Ed Dames with remote viewing, which served them well. So we don't want to hate on remote viewing. It just wasn't what they needed. Remote viewing was great. You could see a silo in a place somewhere. You could figure out where it was, but it's not the same as a telepath who could see the same thing, but he also could see the individual typing in a code and stuff like that. It's a much more refined type of doing it. So
Mm.
they started recruiting openly, looking for people with these abilities. They still recruit, by the way. And in a
Mm.
couple of their studies you could find, because sometimes they'll show up in places like Las Vegas, sometimes they'll even show up at UFO conferences, even ghost conferences or things like Dragon Con and stuff like that. They'll show up.
Mm.
And it's just, I mean, they're looking for telepaths, empaths. They
Mm.
want, because one of the best ways to fix someone's memory is to use an empath or a telepath. You use sodium amytal, sodium pentothal, a good hypnosis, and someone who can do a passive scan. You can put anything you want in anybody's head, and they'll never know the difference ever. They'll just think that's the way it was.
Mm.
Unless they're really extremely strong-willed, which some contactees are, because it's been done to them too much. But
Mhm.
who knows if all of this is true? Just could all be what do they call it, poppycock over there on the other side of
Mm.
the pond.
Justin says he finds the RH blood interesting, and they're coming up with more
It's
and
freaky.
more theories on that. Do you want to touch on that?
Yes, it's a freaky thing. So no one knows. I've talked to so many God blinky darn it, hematologists about this, that they can't actually figure out. They say between 25 and 55,000 years ago, RH negative showed up. So before we even get into that, so you do realize, people, before that time, okay, everyone was brown eyed, brown haired, and brown skinned. There was just one pretty much even group of people across the planet. It wasn't until RH negative was introduced that the introduction of the new blood changed the pigmentations, not just in the skin, but in the eyes and the hair and other things. It all came around the same time. That's when you started seeing redheads and blondes. And that you started seeing, and it was probably the emergence of the white people. I know, ain't that freaky to think about? So, but then there's the other problem. Why would Mother Nature create this? It kills as many babies as it creates. Actually, it kills more than it creates. So, in the old days, people, you had to get a blood test to get married, because if you were RH negative and your spouse were RH positive,
I
there was
had to initially. And even
no, so did
then,
I.
I still had to take a shot.
Yeah, and see, thank God, some
So
Australian guy, some doctor found this Australian guy with his gene, and they figured out a gene therapy. So
Mhm.
now, if you got RH negative and you are married to an RH positive, you can't have babies now. But
no, because the mother's body, isn't it fascinating? We think about it, will reject and
yes,
kill
it will eat it.
the
Yeah,
fetus. Yeah.
the positive will kill the negative, and
Mhm.
out it goes. But see, all of a sudden now, RH negative is 15-16% of the population and growing. Why is
Mhm.
that? So that's going to keep, that's not going to change. RH negative, well, O negative is the universal donor. Well, that just out of the blue, we got a universal donor. How the hell did that happen? Before that, there was no such thing as but I think the more important part is RH negative, especially O negative, is the purest form of blood known to man. It's where all of our hematological research comes from, all of it. So without that mutation, how many ever thousands of years ago this was, we would not be as healthy as a species as we are today. Plus, thanks to RH negative, hospitals don't have to keep tons of supplies of blood. They can keep one in stock and just change the plasma when needed. So it's a big difference. No, RH negative people can only, O negative people can only take O negative blood. Everybody else can take their blood, but they can only take RH negative blood. O negative blood. If they take anything else, it'll kill them. So technically, they're rare, because everybody always tells you, "Well, AB is the rarest, Joe. You're crazy." Well, no, AB can take O negative. So O negative is 7% of the population. So 7 plus 1.5 is 8.5. So no, they're not the rarest. RH negative is because they can only take their own blood.
Just a comment on Justin, with your girlfriend. Yeah, she just has to take a shot. Absolutely, she can. I'm RH negative. I've had 3.
That's all you got to do is take the shot.
Yeah.
It works great. I mean, it's a thing that works. But if you go by what the military says, the likelihood that your child's going to be telepathic or empathic if they're RH negative is 75% more likely. And most of the famous psychics were RH negative. I don't know what it is. It's probably just an evolution of certain genes from one to the other. Stuff that the RH positive was already trying to evolve. For some reason, when it switched, when the gene switched, it increased its abilities. Don't ask me. I'm not a doctor. Look, there's a big study about this on the ICAR site. I mean, it's a huge one. It's just, who knows? Who knows? Because no one can come up with a plausible explanation for why this mutation started. And no one can explain why the majority of people who said they've had contact are RH negative. I mean, it's like 65%. And I mean, remember, RH negative is only 15% of the world population. So the amount of contactees should only be 15%, but they're not. They're 65%. And amongst that 65%, almost 50% of them are O negative. It's creepy weird. It almost feels like somebody back 50,000 years ago decided we're going to genetically create our own strain of humans to offset the other one. Maybe there's some kind of gene that will work. Maybe something's going to happen to the O positives.
Mhm.
Rh negatives did not seem to have as much problem with COVID.
Well, the rarest blood in the world is the golden blood. There may only be 400 people, if that, in the entire world.
I'd be out
That
there draining it. I'd go.
look
I'd
that
just go
up.
knock them out and
It's
say,
there. Yeah, it's there. Look it up. Look it up.
yeah.
I feel for those people because there is nobody to give them blood. And when you only have maybe 400, at least at the time I researched this a couple of years ago, maybe there are more now, maybe there were less.
Oh no, they can have Rh negative blood. They just change the
And
plasma.
they,
That's all they do. Yeah, that's the universal donor for everybody. It doesn't matter.
I
Doesn't
know
matter
one
how
person
rare.
who was a golden blood. Yeah.
It's something to do with the way the Rh negative is made. It allows them to manipulate it, so it
Mhm.
can be turned into the other bloods. It's interesting technology, and it's kind of old technology. Really, it's not even that new of a technology.
Mm.
It's but that's the thing. No one can explain where it came from. No one can explain why so many people who say they're being taken have this blood type. No one can explain why so many people in the world have this blood type that are in places of power or musicians or authors or writers or it's insane. It's the ratio is not right. So when you go back and you look, well, it's not just that. People think of green or blue eyes.
Mhm.
Think about how many. When you think about famous people, think about how many of them have blue or green eyes versus brown eyes, and brown eyes is 80% of the world's population.
Mhm.
So why is that so? And why do so many world leaders have colored eyes?
And why do those eye colors change?
Mhm. So you got to figure that out, peeps.
Mhm.
It's something about those people that are different from everybody else.
Mhm.
Their personalities are different. Their attitudes are different. They look at the world differently. Is it good or bad? Ooh, I don't know. Dolly, what's his name? Lloyd Pye thinks that Neanderthal is what developed into Bigfoot. He,
Interesting.
I don't know if you know who Lloyd Pye is. Was a cryptozoologist, a pretty famous
Mhm.
one too. He's the one who did the child skull, the alien child skull. He's the one who had possession of it. He's the one who
Mhm.
had all the testing done on it before the family took it back. He did
Mhm.
all that work on it. Rest in peace, Lloyd. I hope you found something up there that told you the truth. But no, he always had a good theory on how Neanderthal was partially outbred by Cro-Magnon, and then
Mhm.
it bred with something else, and then it bred into what we consider Bigfoot today.
Mhm.
And by the
Mhm.
way, people argue about Bigfoot. There's Bigfoot that's just some thing walking around a swamp, just Bigfoot that's supposed to be an ET. I mean, you get into that
Mhm.
stuff, it gets crazy. No,
Well,
I'm gonna eat Bigfoot, y'all. So
you have to get into, like, a lot of the quantum stuff as well. I mean, there's a lot of, orbs and shadow people seen around Bigfoot. There's a lot there have been whistleblowers who have claimed that they have seen Bigfoot, in different underground bases.
ever since I said I carry cloves of garlic and lemon around when I'm hunting, Bigfoot doesn't bother me anymore. They're like,
It's because you smell more than them.
yes, because they know I'm going to eat them if I see them.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to shoot them and cook them right there in the woods.
Don't even,
You
yeah,
got
no.
this swamp. Look, they got wild shallots
It's
from the swamp,
illegal
wild
to kill a
mushrooms.
Bigfoot in a lot of states.
It ain't Louisiana, girl.
No, you guys say
I'll just say I found an alligator got him. I just came up on him after the alligator got him. Well, the Honey Island Swamp Monster's supposed to be back. They're making a big deal of it the other day. Honey Island Swamp Monster's back. I'm like, really? Where the hell has it been? On vacation? I'm always up in the Honey Island Swamp. I was up in there when I was a kid. Place is crazily
mhm,
spooky, weird, scary. That is where you know who is actually really buried. I could take y'all there, but I don't want to get in trouble with the family or get a voodoo curse put on my ass. So we ain't going there.
no,
Uh,
you don't need to do that.
no,
So,
I met some really interesting people, and I was under the same influence as everybody else that she was either buried in Cemetery 1 or Cemetery 2, which anybody who comes out here can visit. And any tour guide will come and point you, see all the X's. That's Marie Laveau's grave. Put some coins on it, make an X, do whatever. Do whatever ritual. And then Cemetery 2 has one too. But these are
mhm,
old cemeteries. They're very, very old. Very creakety, wickety looking things. In the old days, you'd walk by, there'd be arms hanging out and stuff, half open caskets and shit. No, they cleaned all that up.
with all the the hurricanes and such that you guys have gotten. It's amazing that you have any cemeteries left that haven't been
That's why they're
uprooted.
all above ground and built in concrete. Because in the
Yeah.
old, there was one in, I think it was in the early 1800s, no, late 1700s in New Orleans, and a storm came in, and they said on Canal Street, all you could see was caskets floating down the street.
Mm-hmm.
Just they were like in lines. I was thinking, oh, that must have been a sight to see. Come walking out of your business or your home, and there's a bunch of caskets out there. It's got to be interesting, but I love me some Bigfoot. No, Bigfoot tastes good. I don't know.
Okay. So Wayne has a good comment. It's a curiosity when I think about how many different species of hominids there were at one time. Then Homo sapiens arrive on the scene, weaker than most, and take over while all the rest disappear. So,
it's interesting he brings it up because lately there have been finding a lot of new species all over the place, underwater, on the planet. Just all of a sudden, there's or things that they thought was extinct that actually were doing quite well. It makes me feel like we're headed for another extinction level event. Like it's like nature's preparing itself for what's coming. It's who knows. Oh, I'm going to Mars with Elon. I got a ticket. Y'all can bite me, people. Y'all on y'all's own.
They should call it systematic species cleansing. So let's talk about hybridization a little bit, Joe. In your research, because you talked about the Rh negative blood on ancient aliens and such, and hybridization. So where do you think?
No, I mean, who wants? Well, I mean, hybridizing ourselves or something hybridizing us might be one thing. We hybridizing something else would just be a joke. It would be like going backwards in evolution. It's but so when you go backwards, I don't know how many thousands of years. When you go backwards, whatever this all started, and they took these original families and started working forward with these families. I don't know if the empathic and stuff like that was just something they put in, or it was from just sheer amounts of exposure from them. But it is a mutation in us now, because for ICAR, we won't even consider you to be an abductee or a contactee if you're not at least empathic. You have to be empathic or telepathic or both, or we don't even consider you to be a contactee, because I've never met a real one who's not, and some of them are actually quite strong. And you can tell a lot of them are very successful in things in their life because they just know things ahead of time. It's not so much about being clairvoyant. It's just they're running the numbers because their abilities are just quite a bit faster than everybody else's around them. It's like being really good at math almost. But in a way, I think that's kind of like a natural hybridization. And then there seems to be things like the Men in Black, which no one's exactly sure what kind of hell of a hybrid they are. So sometimes they look like us, like your eye, and then sometimes they look like your eye, like blurred out of focus. It's almost like the whole being is at the same time moving. It's almost, I don't want to say they're in another dimension, but they're definitely not. They're moving so fast that they're not really sitting where they really are. It's hard to explain, but it's very creepy. Everybody who sees them says the same thing. It always makes you feel like you're out of sync or out of phase. It always screws with your memory, and it always leaves you this sense of something ominous. But then a lot of times nothing else happens, or you don't remember anything else that happened. You might have had your whole brain wiped and not known. Yeah, so but they only show up for certain kind of people in certain places. It's weird. They don't mess with all contactees, but I do think sometimes that they're interested in MILABs, certain MILABs that the government's interested in. Or I hate to use the word the government because it's not the government's, but whoever it is that controls all of that, they seem to be interested in that as well. Or they keep tabs on it, might be a better way. Then there's supposed to be a rogue group of grays out there. No one knows what the hell they're doing. All anybody ever talks about them, there's been lots of people have talked about them, is the fact that they don't follow the Greys agenda, whatever the hell that is. And that's basically being the guardian of this part of the universe. Yes, I said universe, people, not just galaxy. It's they seem to be doing that and watching over us. I mean, when you look at these races that say they're coming here, any one of them could have swatted us like we're flies eons ago. Matter of fact, the longer the wait, the less likely they're going to be able to do it. I mean, our technology is doubling every year now. At this rate, eventually we will catch up or get close enough to do serious damage. Right now, nuclear weapons don't scare them for some reason.
Now, do you get a lot of this information because ICAR, this is a site for contactees that come into you where you investigate all these cases, and how you have close to 100,000 people?
Yeah, last count there is about a little over 70,000 members that are still in an active role, and there's about 100 and if for some reason it fluctuates in the database, but it fluctuates between about 108 and 122,000 contact cases. Now, if it's in this particular database, ladies and gentlemen, this means these are cases that have been investigated. So the way it works is someone comes in and meets one of our investigators, usually an assistant investigator, and they'll talk with them. And then that person will usually, if they think it's worthy, they'll up them to an investigator. And then investigator will go through them, and if they turn out to be something legit, then usually the assistant director will meet them. And if they're like somebody special, then one of either the national director or myself will be contacted, and we'll deal with them directly. But it's a good way of finding out where they are in the hierarchy of being contacted, what they're being used for, if anything. Because we've talked about this many times, but contactees seem to be in levels and stages. Some seem to be out there doing communication work, just simply telling people, hey, they exist, they're alive, they're here. Some people seem to be helping them basically with their agendas to keep them quiet and to help keep the abductees and contactees under control on board the ships. And there's other things besides that they use them for. I mean, none of it's nefarious or anything, and none of that's harming them or us, but it gives them inside information. They get more, they retain more information is probably a better way of saying it. But for some reason, no one can seem to retain anything more than about 30%. And I mean, because this is what's funny about this. When people tell you, I remember everything, but when you sit them down and put them under, that's not what happens. You'll find out they'll remember. So they were going 10 days. There may be 50 hours worth of memories. Well, 10 days is a little bit more than 50 hours. What is that? 240 hours. So that's a lot of memory missing there. So you can say, oh, well, they were sleeping X amount of time, but just still 100 hours missing. Jim Sparks, when I first met him, was one of the few contactees that recalled about 30%, 35%. And he was telling me one day, he said, no, I recall everything. So we got to talking, and I said, well, you said you were going from here to here, right? He's like, yeah. I said, well, tell me about this day and tell me about this day. And we were doing a 4-hour show. He could barely fill the 4-hour show with what he could remember. And it was all great stuff. Don't get me wrong. It was a fabulous show with great material and great insights, but still, it was far short from the amount of time he had been taking. So, what are they doing? Putting you to sleep somewhere, holding you somewhere, phasing you out of time somewhere. Because we know now they just phase you out of time when they take you like that. They just, well, I always tell this story because it's a good one. We were having dinner with a couple in Pensacola, Florida, by the way. Had dinner with them, hung out all night till midnight, 1 o'clock, had pictures taken of us all because everybody was dressed in the nines. And we went back to the hotel. They went back to their home, and then it was 6:15 in the morning. I get a frantic, screaming phone call from these people, and I'm like, "What the hell?" And I'm thinking, "Oh, maybe they're trying to hoax me or fake me." I pull up in the house. He comes walking out. He's in shorts, no shirt on. He's got a beard like this. He looked like one of them Mormon guys, man, or one of them the Quakers. I mean, it was like this. She pulls up her pajama pants up to about her knee, and she's got hair this long on it. So we sent him to the hospital, had him analyzed. And the doctors were like, no. And I said, yeah. And I see the pictures from last night. You can clearly see she's in a dress, clean shaven legs. He's clean shaven, no beard, no mustache at all. So the doctor conceded that he figures it was 3 to 5 weeks worth of growth. So was it just some kind of freak growth? No doctor could come up with a reason why it would have happened. So the next phase after that was put him through therapy, and if that didn't work, put him under hypnosis and see what you find. If you start finding stuff, well, you know what happened. They were gone. Yeah, because they can take you right now, people. They can take you right now. So it's 10 o'clock, they take you. And if they want to, they can bring you back at 10 o'clock. or 5 minutes after 10 o'clock or 5 minutes before 10 o'clock. They don't really need to be missing time anymore like there was in the old days. Even though there still is some, it's just not as prevalent. ET got wise. They watched the investigators. They said, "Look at these stupid humans think they're going to figure out what we're doing. Get the out of here." That's not going to happen. And what gets me is how many humans have such a hard time changing their attitudes toward this. Oh, it's always like that. Oh, no, it's not. And
Mm.
but that's what they want it to be, because for some reason ufology is very dogmatic, very slow to change. It's one of the reasons I think paranormal, or the paranormal field, which is a bad term, but does
Mhm.
better overall, because they are willing to change and try new things and get involved in crazy stuff. Whereas
Mhm.
those old ufologists are like, "Ugh," even the new ones are like, they're just very dogmatic, and you can't be
Mhm.
like that, because we're always going to be learning new stuff that's going to change the way you think about things.
Mhm.
I mean, after all, we're talking about extraterrestrials. Um, now,
But I mean, you have to sort of keep up with the times as well, like with not just with contactees, but even with the crafts. I mean, we're not dealing just anymore with ET crafts. We're dealing with, back engineering. We're dealing now, obviously, with drones. Like, is this something that you guys at iCar also research? Like I know that's a big MUFON thing. They really specialize in events and crafts and things like that. Like, your organization the
see,
same thing?
they think they do, but Bigelow fired their asses, so they
Mhm.
don't get any information from them. We're still friends with Bigelow, so we
Mm,
still get information from him. But more than
mhm.
that, I get friends where they don't have friends, because I don't rat my friends out and tell them where I get them from. A
Right.
couple of my directors over the years have, we it's weird how life happens, because I have really high clearance, so it allows me to see things I can't always talk about, but
Mhm.
but it's weird. So one of my directors comes in. I meet this young lady. She wants to be one of our directors. She introduced me to her sister, who is a bigwig for Boeing, big
Mm.
wig, way the hell up the ladder. Well, her and
Mhm.
I hit it off and have been talking ever since. A couple of months later, another one of my directors, he's out of Oklahoma. He introduced me to his uncle, who's one of our investigators, is also a bigwig for Lockheed Martin and the Skunk Works division. So
Mhm.
over the years, we've made lots and lots of friends like this. And even after Senator McDonald had retired, after making good friends with him over the Black Triangles, he had introduced me to several other people. And then I've
Mm.
met people through the military, and a couple of astronauts I've maintained good relationships with. So it's a little different. I'm not. It's different for us than it is for MUFON, because MUFON thinks you're going to find things chasing lights in the sky. Well, that's bullshit. You're wasting your time and your money. The truth
Mm.
isn't coming from chasing lights in the sky. And by the way, Steve Miss said, if you listen, you know I love you and I will back you anytime you talk about anything, but we're not getting the truth from chasing lights in the sky. Chasing Congress, maybe. Chasing the lights in the sky, no. Uh,
Mhm.
you've got to have some type of tangible proof. Look at Congress. Congress is asking all these questions, and what did Congress come away from with all their sessions? A big fat zero.
Yeah, let's talk about the latest disclosure. Stephen Bissett is coming on next month
He's
to
so
to go over that again because he's very passionate about it and he's
he is
very
very
diligent.
passionate, and he's very cute too. It's I love
So,
he's like this on his cheek.
what did you take out of it as
I
a
laughed my ass off is what I did. I was like, so the first one to me was just trying to get Dr. Greer some brownie points, because Dr. Greer's got these big theories on on dimensional beings, and he wants to say
Mm,
that's where these aliens come from. And then the Koresh guy kept saying, "Oh, we've got 75 of them and 100 aliens, and every other time they come through the portal, they crash one of their ships." I'm thinking, really? So this has been going on for 100,000 years. They've been doing this or more.
mm,
Come on, do you really think they're that ignorant? I think after the first 50, 60, maybe 100 ships they lost, they might have stopped. Or after they
mm,
lost all those other aliens, they might have stopped. And I don't even explain the rest of the aliens that are here on the planet. So I hear stuff like that. And then the worst part for them guys is this. Well, a friend of 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 a friend told me I'm a spy.
Jesus.
So I'm a spy, so I know these are true, because each one, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. By the time it started from friend one to where it got to you, if it was true, it's been exaggerated out of its freaking marble. So
Mhm,
it just, there was no firsthand witnesses other than the pilots, and all the pilots could tell you was Whatever this is, it's not ours. That's all they
Mhm.
could tell you because it simply isn't ours. Okay, so
Mhm.
we will fast forward to the new one. Da, 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 da. So I'm listening to these three words. So first guy up is a what? He's a what is he? A publisher? No, he's an author. And I'm listening to the guy, and I'm thinking, okay, he's talking. He's talking a good talk. And I'm
Mhm.
thinking, you don't know what the Blake you're talking about. And then the other two were even worse. Well, the science guy who wanted to sort of prove it was there, but yet debunk it at the same time was confusing. I was like, "What are you doing, dude? You're your own worst enemy. Shut up and go sit down somewhere."
Mhm.
My problem is, even with those three, it was still the same thing. A friend of a friend of a friend told me.
Mhm.
None of them had firsthand information. So when you're talking about something as important as extraterrestrials or extraterrestrial contact or extraterrestrial craft, you need what? You need firsthand information. You need the guy who runs Area 51 to come stand in front of you and say, "Oh yeah, you know what? Bob's Laura sport model is real, and this is where it's parked, and this is what it looks like, and this is what it can
Mhm.
do." And we have been able to get some technology from it, and sort of kind of backwards engineer because some of the stuff we still don't
Mhm.
understand, but some of it we do, like microchips and wiring and other things. But no, that's not what they get. They get second rate nobodies.
Mhm.
Now, there has been some skiff things that have been interesting, and I know that because it's part of one. But the thing of it is,
Mhm.
those are all classified things, people where they can come in and just sit down and ask you. So my same thing is, and I submit this to my own self. If you're going to do this, the first thing you should ask them to do is have Quantico send over a polygrapher, because I got the best ones in the country. Have
Mhm.
them hook you up to the polygraph for the entire interview, however long it takes, and let them do that. And that way, when you ask a question, and the Nancy lady goes like, he's pointing over there, and the guy's like, he's telling the truth. Or
Mhm.
when the Pentagon goes, really, that can't be true, and he's like, he's telling the truth. So it eliminates a lot of bullshit out of the way. So at least then Congress get some information. But like a lot of stuff, I know they couldn't absorb it anyway. They have no base to understand it. They'd have to spend 5, 10 years doing research like we have just to get into where we are on all of this. I mean, I could go in
Mhm.
there and tell them tomorrow, oh yeah, ET exists, and this is what they're doing, this is why they're here, this is why they're here, and this is why y'all can't mess with them because simply we're just not there yet. And
Mhm.
or why they haven't wiped us out or why they haven't enlightened us. Because that's also the two biggest things in the field. They're here to
Mhm.
enlighten us. Do you feel enlightened, Michelle?
I'm always enlightened.
Yes. Do you really feel enlightened, Miss? I live
Maybe
under
bit
Trudeau's
bit
command.
grumpy, but I'm still enlightened.
Miss, I live with Trudeau. Not me and you, Wayne. I'm
Mhm.
talking about the real
Okay,
deal.
that's another show, man.
I'm just saying.
Not gonna be this one. So,
Well, no,
but
wait a minute now. That
no,
other
no,
guy, that other guy, the poly guy
I
likes UFOs.
I know, but we're
Whatever
gonna
his
leave
name is, I
it
can never
there.
pronounce his name, so you don't have to
Hold it
worry about
there. Yeah, we're gonna leave it
it.
there, though. You talk about
He's
that on your show,
cute.
not on mine.
He's
So,
cute. He's cute, and he likes UFOs.
I
That's two things I like about him.
I know,
Um,
I know.
why
So,
you hating that poor man?
uh, so
I'm telling Amelia.
are you
I'm
guys
sorry.
going to research some of these like drones and everything? Because a lot of this is happening over US airspace. Like New Jersey is being freaking pummeled by these things. And there's a lot of states, New York also.
So
There's
the
a
real
lot of
problem here, if the FAA are not
Mhm.
getting involved, that means somebody filed a flight plan.
Mhm.
So that means they're legit. They had permission to be there. Because FAA is usually squirm. They're really hardcore on drones. I mean, they usually come down on drones, especially near an airport. They usually get flipping crazy over that shit.
Mhm.
They'll send out. I've seen them in not New Jersey, in New York and in Chicago. Send out trucks out there with these net things they fire to catch the drone.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, people they don't play around. They also use them to run off birds and stuff too. But
Mhm.
the thing of it is you can't have drones like, especially the size of these near an airport. I mean, come on, something
Mhm.
goes haywire, you just took out a big jet and killed everybody.
Mhm.
So, but again, the FAA does not seem to have the need to respond, and they've been
Mhm.
seen in 4 or 5 cities now. And they've been seen around military bases. But yet again, the military or the FAA does not seem to have the need to respond.
Well,
Now, is this
I want to show you one that's right over New Jersey right now, and you tell me what this says. This is the one I was telling you about, Ezekiel's wheel. Remember, we've talked, you and I in the gray zone talked about Ezekiel's wheel.
Which was
Okay,
crazy, freaky stuff.
This is why I want to play this right here.
Well, let's see if that's a real one. That's a UFO damn thing there. Oh no, that's a drone. There, son of a bitch, I've seen that before.
Have you? Doesn't it look a lot like this guy right here, Ezekiel's
It
wheel?
does. It looks a lot like it. But I've actually seen that drone before.
For that one, right?
So at New Year's last year, they had that.
Mm-hmm.
That exact drone, they had that.
Mm-hmm. So this is a drone, and so okay. So I mean, what are they back engineering those two?
Changing colors and doing all kind of weird stuff. Actually, it was a part of there was a couple of them that came together and made these things. It was one of them big drone shows instead of well, they had a fireworks show too, but it was a big drone show instead of a fireworks show.
Mm-hmm.
Big dragon in the sky, breathing fire and stuff. It was crazy. It's crazy what they can do with those drones now and how they can coordinate 2,000 of these things and do things.
Right.
Drones are going to be the next warfare whenever it comes up, or the next way to go after ET. I mean, if you can start building drone carriers that are housing 200, 100,000 drones, and you see an extraterrestrial craft, you could swarm it and maybe have a chance. I doubt it, but maybe have a chance. I mean, when you listen to these pilots, they always say the same thing. Oh, it's there. Oh, I don't know where it went. It's not here no more. Oh, wait, it's back. Wait a minute. Whoop, it's gone.
Right.
You know, and they laugh about it. Well, no, when you talk to these pilots today, they're not getting it on radar. They're getting it on flare. Flares are infrared vision. Yeah. It's so no, they're not getting it on radar. It's still not showing up on radar, but the infrared's catching it. It has heat signature. Yeah, I guess well, maybe ET don't care if it's got a heat signature. And I still wouldn't even be 100% sure that these pilots are contactees.
Well, what I find interesting is that, going back to even what Justin was saying about a New Jersey congressman saying that they were from an Iranian ship off the coast, and Pentagon says no. But it's interesting because the Pentagon issues a statement that basically said that they denied military origin for the drones and ruled out links to known foreign entities. But it just
that means they know who it is.
There's a lack of transparency with this, and they're saying that they're not. I mean, if they're not linked to Iran, Russia, China, any of these places, there are experts who are proposing that maybe they're a part of some clandestine deep state program thing that's going on there. So I don't know.
But it might not even be that nefarious. It could simply be they're doing night shots of certain things. They're programming for cars or doing, scanning particular areas for different things. So that's the problem in today's world. You see Google's cars and the map cars running around the things on them, taking pictures. Well, now they got drones that do them, that fly over and do them. Yeah. And half time, at least with the car, it's there. With the drone, you don't know it's there half the time. Hell, I seen a Domino's delivery drone the other day in Bum Blank, Mississippi. I was like, what the hell is this doing?
That's crazy. I know. Yeah. So
I guess, but it's easy when you live in a rural area. I guess it's easy to send a drone right across as a crow flies. You see, but that's the thing. I mean, we talk about the Foo Fighters, and the drones can do everything the Foo Fighters can do except for acceleration. They could fly around a craft like this. They could loop them while they were flying. But they just don't have that acceleration where you're in front of a plane doing 500 miles an hour and then you're going, or you're in front of a plane doing 1.5, Mach 1.5, and then you're going. I mean, that's just crazy. It's moving. And then sometimes it's not exactly moving away. Sometimes it's there and it's gone. It's like door open, it went inside and it closed. It's not like it's streaked off.
So what are your thoughts when people say, oh no, this is the onset to Project Bluebeam. This is the beginning. I mean, we have the whole Miami Mall incidents.
Yes, and thank you. Joe debunked that. He got
you can't debunk that because
then I got paid for it.
Let me tell you what. Some
it was
guy
easy debunked.
No,
you want me to help you with this so you don't be looking
crazy? I want
here?
you to hear me talk because I'm the host.
Host don't get her to talk. Host supposed to sit there and be quiet.
Some guy showed up they were confiscating all kinds of cell phones when all of this happened.
Mhm.
And some guy
I
showed up
remember.
with he had like the kid had an old flip phone, and he had an old VHS video recorder. And they never thought to take it, never did anything. He sent it off to be analyzed, and that footage was released, and they have not been able to debunk that footage.
Well, so I can tell you this is easy for people. So there's footage where he's in the mall, he's inside the
Mhm.
mall, and the thing's moving through the mall. So
But there's
they
a
made
lot
a
of footage of that.
yeah, but they made a big flaw. Then outside, inside, they made big flaws, and these are easy ones. People just didn't catch them right away. So
Mhm.
as this thing's moving through, the people standing on the second floor are not looking down at this. They're not taking pictures. They're not
Mhm.
running and screaming. The people
Mhm.
behind it or in front of it are not running and screaming. It means that the people around it did not conceive whatever it was to be alarming, which means it was a fake. It was more than likely a CGI. On one clip, though, you can see as it turns, there's a hand that stretches out. So if you
Mhm.
break the image down, it's actually three people wearing
Mhm.
black clothes. So that's the inside, and it took me all of 45 minutes to figure it out. They paid me
Yeah,
good for it,
if you're looking at some of this digital stuff, this guy has you can't really
but
budge.
you don't have to worry about
You can't
anything they have.
really
You just have to worry about the people around it. If they're not
Mhm.
reacting to it, then it's not
I
real.
I'm just letting you know what's floating around right now is this VHS tape that has not yet been debunked. So this is
How
something new that's
exactly?
it surfaced in the last probably 3 or 4 weeks.
Because the thing outside, which was really cool looking, there was
Yeah,
actually several mistakes. One of
right.
it, it actually
Yeah.
passed through the tree. They
Mhm.
didn't catch it until after the fact. This cop was cracking me up. He said, "How do you know so much about AI?" I said, "Because when it
Mhm.
originally started, a good friend of mine who's an author brought it to my attention, and ever since then, we've been working with it to
Mhm.
see how because we knew sooner or later people were going to start using it. I mean, hell, we're planning on using it for creating stuff. So
Yeah.
in
I'm
this
just
case, the two major things, like where all the cop cars were lined up around the building, it was 50 of them. Actually, it was
Mhm.
like 48 of them, but whatever it
Right,
was, they
right.
were like that. Well, this thing comes out the mall this way and it's coming along the side of the building. It's 14 foot tall, 12 foot tall. It's big, whatever it is.
Mhm.
So whatever
Yeah,
did it grew when it came outside of the mall, which was just kind of funny. So that was
right.
another big mistake.
Yeah,
But there were certain things the way it moved, and there were a couple of times it glitched,
right.
and so it was good. I don't want to take away from whoever did this because it was really good, and it was
Mhm.
good enough that the people who seen it panicked. And but for some reason, you couldn't find anybody at the mall as a witness that actually seen
Mhm.
it. No
Yes.
one, no one. So no one, even though they seemed to be panicking. But then we found out that the block over, there was a big old teenage gang war going on.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so originally they think the cops were supposed to be going there, and
Mhm.
anyway, there's a lot of BS that went on with it, but so
Well
far there hasn't been anything I've seen that would make me think that anything there was real. I'd have to see something really good because everything I've seen so far
mhm.
suggests this was a big, deep hoax, and it also suggests this was not done by just an ordinary person. It seems to be
Mhm.
somebody who had an agenda for whatever it may be. They seems like they had an agenda for this. It was
Mhm.
well put together. It was well thought out. They
Not
just they
part.
just they made two mistakes. They should have
Mhm.
won when they did the AI plot. They should have said, "Okay, make sure everything up on these floors and right here and here we're moving."
Mhm.
Not because the one lady's sitting there with her kid eating. Okay,
Yeah.
there's an alien running down a hallway. I'm not thinking that's going to happen.
But
And
what
the
it
other
does
people
is it
inside,
just shows the whole need to be because if this is a thing, it just brings me back again to Bluebeam manifesting, doing crazy things. Who's
Blue Beam.
behind it? That was if that's the case, it was a little bit elaborate for
The
what it
first,
was.
the first, the first blue beam I ever saw was the Indian thing they did in Phoenix, Arizona. They put
Mm.
a big Indian chief's head in the sky. It was probably their very first attempt at using
Yeah,
this. And then for
right.
a while after that, they were seeing like dragons and
Yeah.
Pegasus and all
Whales.
kind of weird shit. Yeah.
Yes.
And then all
Yes.
of a sudden it quit. It quit happening because
Mhm.
by then they had figured out how to get it a little bit better so that they could use it and
Mhm.
and places, put it in places. Well, I
Mhm.
think too. I think the original generators were too big. They were like the size of 18 wheelers and shit. So it was kind of hard, and bulky to
Right.
move around. But I think nowadays it's pretty much handheld now. So
Mhm.
they could walk into a place and hit it. And as long as any certain types of light don't pass through, it looks solid. It
Mhm.
looks like a solid thing walking along through the mall. And somebody asked me the other day, could these drones be this? I said, no. I said, the drones, if you pay attention, a lot of times the drones are low enough that they're disturbing the wind, the leaves and the trees and stuff.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, yes, I'm
Right.
very observant, people. It's what I
Mhm.
do. I pay attention to every damn thing.
I
But
think it's just sort of like the beginning, like a sign of
well,
things
there's so much of this
coming
going on,
into
and a lot of it we want to be real, but whatever this thing that would have been at the Miami Mall, if it was real, it
Mm.
would have been big and scary, and probably would have hurt some people. So I'm thinking that was something else, and it may have just been a test. They might have wanted
Mhm.
to test and see because nobody. The other problem was is nobody came running screaming out of the mall, which they should have been. Big alien walking through the hallway, like the Predator. You'd be like
Well,
hauling
some of
ass.
these weren't they cloaked or something? Like, didn't they actually have like
Well,
some?
if you're looking at the video looks like they're phasing in that, which makes it even weirder, which would have brought
Yeah.
more attention to it.
Well,
Because
digital can do that. Like, I'm just
yeah,
kind of wondering, like, I'll have to
but
try. I did show clips, pictures from this videotape, probably a couple of Q&As back, but
I can see
like
that again.
I can try to locate it again.
Yeah,
But
well, anything you get in there because I always like looking at stuff. And so what happened with this
just
is
go VHS Miami Mall VHS tape and see what comes up with that. So if you guys want to
so
look that up,
a
it
friend
was
of
sent
ours
to me,
from
so I don't know.
well, a friend of
Yeah.
ours from Prometheus is the one that recommended me because I did some work for them a while back with
Mhm.
some AI stuff that they almost got
People
sued
send me
over.
stuff all the time, so I have a
So,
look, and
but
when
they're the
we have
ones that
our open
referred me
mic,
to the police
I
department.
present it and everybody sort of looks at it and kind of meh, yay, nay, whatever, right? So that's
Well,
all
I
we
don't
do.
blame you, Justin. I'd like to believe there was something there, but and I
Mhm.
see. I don't like debunking stuff because it always gets me in trouble. But you can't let stuff that's not real go
No.
unchallenged.
No, absolutely
And
not.
and
Absolutely
this
not.
is the other thing which makes me fairly unique in the field is the fact that if you prove me wrong, I'll go on a big radio show with 3 million people and say, "Hey, what? You know what? Justin
Yeah,
showed me this evidence, and I was wrong." See, I don't
yeah.
really have a personal problem with that, but I have to go by the evidence I see and the fact that there was no
Mm.
reaction by the
Mhm,
people because there was lots of people there. There
mhm,
just wasn't any reaction. They were reacting like any day at the mall,
mhm,
which shouldn't have been like that. I mean, you got this weird thing bulbing and blazing and popping
mhm.
and shifting going down the hallway. You should have been flipping the hell out and running for something.
Yeah,
And
see,
just not just that, the electrical should have
this
been
guy
popping
has
off and stuff.
yeah, what this guy shows is nothing like that, like, he doesn't have all the outside stuff and you know what I mean? He's just walking around with this big crazy those one of those big old-fashioned VHS cameras. Nobody thinks to
Yeah, those are
confiscate that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Well, no, a lot of times they just think you press anyway when you're walking around with one like
Oh,
that.
yeah, like a big boom
Uh,
box. I don't know.
The aliens have been here, Justin. The aliens been here for a long time.
Mhm.
It's not like they just showed up
Yeah.
recently. And that's another funny thing when you listen to Congress. So they're
Mhm.
all like, "Oh, well, it could have been this kind of drone." No, the drones are just become relative in the last 10 years,
Mhm.
20 years, if you want to count military drones. But before that, there were no drones flying around in the skies. So
Mhm.
drones don't work for you can say, "Oh yeah, these might be drones today," but when you try to say, "Oh, UFOs are fake,"
Mhm.
because of drones, you're wasting your time because drones barely even cover any span that UFOs have been around for. I don't like the UAP thing. YAP just sounds stupid to me.
Well, people seem to think these drones, are very like, a very coordinated operation.
They
So,
probably are. It
it's
looks kind of
either some
coordinated to
kind
me.
yeah, I mean, it's either some sort of psychological thing, designed to distract, from maybe certain issues that are going on in the world right now, and they're just trying. And
Well,
I don't want to get us flagged, so I'm just going to say a lot of things going on right now. And whenever there's something major going on, and we know there's a whole lot of very interesting things going on right now, they usually come out with a bigger distraction. So, a lot of people kind of go squirrel or,
yeah,
they
that's
just
true.
look at things and kinda go,
But you
"Wow,"
know what?
and they forget everything
Are
else that's going on.
I had talked to a friend of mine not too long ago who
Mhm,
works for an electronics company, and they were telling me
mhm,
that they were tasked about 3 years ago with developing a. So
mhm,
people, the U.S. has been talking about aerial inoculations for long
mhm,
time, 2 decades at least.
mhm,
And they have used tankers to try to do this. A lot of times it disperses too much, but But someone got the bright idea of using drones for aerial inoculation, like these ones we were seeing. They're the right size. They could carry a lot of liquid. They could probably cover an entire city. You know, like the guy who drives around through your neighborhood spraying for mosquitoes. Uh, same basic thing. And then you would be inoculated. So they wouldn't have to argue with you anymore about go get your vaccination. Guess what? You've just been sprayed with the damn thing. Everything you touch, everything you breathe would be covered. And there's no way for people like Michelle and I or other people who don't want this to happen would still be screwed because they just spray it right on the top of us. And half the time we wouldn't even know we were being sprayed because the drone would be up wherever, flying at 200-300 feet. We wouldn't even hear it. It'd just be laying the stuff on top of your head. So it's a good possibility that's what they are. They could be other things. They could just simply be spies. I mean, we've named about a dozen things tonight that they could be. The problem is you'd have to get one of them, catch one of them to figure out what it's being used for, what type of
There
equipment.
just seem to be different types, you know, and again, the lack of transparency makes it really difficult. Like, and the lack of like, oh yeah, it's nothing. Well, you know, looks like something.
Like something to me. I mean, well, it's been brought up a lot. Lynn's brought up a lot herself, and it's just for some reason there seems to be a lot of these flying around unchecked. And again, if the FAA doesn't care, I don't even know what we can do about it. I mean, they've got them on video, so the FAA knows they're real.
Some of them are pretty low, like
And some are pretty damn big.
Pretty low. Yes.
Well, when the first time I heard all these about these drone footages, I got everybody was talking like they were this big, but no. Then I seen the first footage, I'm like, oh no, this thing is huge. This thing is like the size of an F-15 or something. I mean, this is not just some run of the mill BS. This is the kind of stuff like the Raptors we use to send Iran to blow shit up with. That's what these are. I mean, that's not what they are, but that's the same size that they are. So these aren't. These aren't. I mean, you probably get one for about $25,000, maybe 50, but depending on what you wanted in it. But this isn't your everyday Joe Schmo went outside and bought one of these to go harass somebody with. Yeah. I mean, they got like surveyor drones and stuff like that. They're usually about $5,000-$6,000, and they're really nice and can fly a long ways, but not like these. These things, as long as they got fuel, they can. Because of the uplinks, can reach them pretty much wherever they are. And until they break that plane going across the planet, they have constant contact with them. So it's not like the old days. I know. So, but still, what are they? And could they be some kind of new alien craft, little probe just hovering around looking at us? You know, aliens are smart. Maybe they just decided to make their probes look like our stuff.
Maybe.
Did they file a flight plan with the FAA? How'd they do that? Shit.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick break. So for anybody who is just tuning in, you're listening to The Outer Realm, and we're here with Joe Montaldo, and we're discussing the worldwide influx of drones, UFOs, UAP sightings that are pretty much happening on a regular basis. I know. And we're just talking about what we think they might be. And there's a strong belief that a lot of people think that it may be a precursor to Project Blue Beam, or maybe it's a distraction. So chime in. I mean, we have a lot of people in X, we have a lot of people in Rumble and YouTube, and it's doing really well. So chime in. Don't be shy. Please feel free to get in. Anyway, big thank you to Folgers Coffee for sponsoring tonight's show, every night show. We appreciate you so very much. So very much, just saying.
Yes.
And we appreciate
I need some of that too.
Dr. Snick, Steve McGinnis, thank you guys very much. And again, if you want to find us on Rumble, right here. Also, United Public Radio. If you want to find the show on X, it's live here right now. And you want to find all of our shows here on the network, it's United, or I guess you say uprntalkradio.com. And we have had it flashing across the screen all night. So also, don't forget.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, Don't forget, whichever of the platforms that you are watching the show on tonight, please support us. Show us some love by liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting. We appreciate it so very much. We want to know what you're thinking. We want to know if you've enjoyed the show. Put your questions there. I try to come back and answer everything and allocate it. If you have something for Joe, happy to allocate it over to him as well. So we are back. There we go. A lot of people up here just talking about, I guess. Never mind. Okay. Sorry. A few more people coming in. Hello. Space oddities. Oh, that's a good handle for what we're talking about tonight. So, oh, woohoo,
Hello,
Keith, how
Keith.
are you?
How you doing?
Yeah. So,
Yes, I
again,
have my tickets. I made a deal with Elon. So I'm going to Mars, and you poor suckers are, when
okay.
Elon decides that he's going to clear the planet out and take over, so he's going to retire on Mars. He's going to go over there. What do you think he's building these 80,000 satellites for? He's putting around the planet. Y'all have never watched the James Bond thing, Moonraker. Humans are not very bright. That's
So,
all
so,
I can say.
so, hello, Trish. So,
I
tell
love
me,
y'all, but
with all of these satellites going into orbit, are they not picking up on any of these drones that are be spotted everywhere?
it's funny you
These
said that. We just
okay,
put a
thank you.
picture up last night of
Right.
a group of satellites that monitored a UFO going around this in space it's a couple of years ago. But for
Mm-hmm.
some reason, it was a group of satellites owned by a particular company, and they were relaying it. So they got it for a while. They tracked
Mm-hmm.
it for about an hour and a half, through
Mm-hmm.
video, not through radar or anything. They got it through video. They were just watching it fly along, and
Mm-hmm.
they finally decided to release the footage. And NASA and the government tore them up, tried to go get the footage from them. By then, no, it was too late. It was on the internet, so there's
Mm-hmm.
not much they could do about it.
Right.
And that was back before the day you could call Google up and say, "Please scrub that, Google." Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
Well,
it was interesting.
you have to be careful now for sure. you
Yeah,
know.
let me. I know Michelle's seen this. Let me show you all this picture I took. Well, I didn't take. A friend of mine, Jason Wilson, took this picture, and rest in peace, there, Mister Jason, wherever you happen to be, or up whatever side you went to. I don't want to
Mhm.
make any predictions. I'm not.
Right.
Not into making predictions these days. Let me see. Am I in the right place? Let's see. Presented.
Mhm.
Uh, let's move to California. Yay. Okay, y'all can see that? Oh,
Let
no,
me
you
try.
can't because I didn't put it up there. Okay.
There we
There
go.
we go.
Okay.
All right. So this is an interesting picture. Let me get back on the other screen so I can actually see it on the other one. So this picture was taken. Let me scroll down here and tell you. This was taken in March 20 of 2004. This was taken with a digital camera, one of the very first ones, a Canon A60, at Little Marsh Island in Florida. So when you look at this picture, let's go back up. When you first see this picture, so this picture was sent to me, after it had been taken out the camera. And Jason says, "What do you see?" And when I first looked at it, I said, "Nothing." And then I noticed that this smoke coming out the top of the stack was for some reason being pulled this way.
Mm.
And then when you get over here, you start to see this big round thing. This thing's as big as the power plant, whatever this is. It is huge. I
Mm.
mean, this whole back of this power plant back here is like 1.5 million square feet, and it's sitting over the top of it. It's so we looked at it and we were like, well, what the hell could this possibly be? So then we had the picture blown up. Now what's interesting, here you can clearly see that smoke, and it's clearly you can even see where it's being pulled down into
Mm.
this. So you
That's
can see it,
crazy.
it makes a sharp rim all the way around, and this must be some kind of opening because it blots up there. And then if you notice, there's ribs with a center, rib with a center, rib with a center, rib with a center. So this was invisible. For some reason, it must have been maybe turning, and it drew the smoke over there.
Mhm.
And you pick this up sitting there. So this wild thing is, what the hell is it doing there? And then a couple of days later, we noticed this, a UFO headed for the thing.
Mhm.
So to the very date, I mean, this is one of the best proofs that there's either a portal or some type of mothership, and you can clearly see there's a UFO right here. Um, Jack and them think even Jay said maybe it's two smaller craft cruising up to go into this one.
Mhm.
It's great. I mean, I remember when we debuted it. I think it was actually on Coast to Coast,
Mhm.
and there's just nothing out there like it. I mean, because it was a complete accident. We out of habit, deep water places near certain types of military bases, certain types of national park and power plants. We always take lots of pictures because sometimes you get lucky. And as you can see, we got lucky because none of us saw this with the naked eye. None of us. There was 5 people in the car that day. Nobody saw it until after the picture was developed. And then you can clearly see that the smoke was being pulled. Oh, yes, this was before AI, people. So there was no doing none of that. But you can clearly see that smoke bending over. And in this one down here, you can even see it better. I mean, it's just being pulled over and just sucked around this craft, whatever this is. And when you're looking at this craft, this is the roof of the building. There's another building back here. And then this one, this is big. Just like aircraft carrier size kind of thing. And it's just sitting there. And I thought it was tilted, but then I realized it was the angle of the picture. It was sitting flat. We were tilted. And then you find the UFOs cruising. I mean, if you take a direct cat, it's going right there. I mean, you can see they're tilted. They're on an angle on a turn. They're making the turn. You can actually see the tilt to make the turn, and that's where they're headed. So they know this thing is here, and that's where they're going. To date, no ufologist can tell me what it is. All I can say is it's probably extraterrestrial.
It's an interesting capture, without a doubt.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. See, but people, this is why you always carry cameras. These are all shots we're taking. I don't know what this weird thing was, but or this is an actual landing on Eglin Air Force Base of what looked to be a saucer. And this thing right here, you see this big bubble you see right there. Underneath that is an observatory. This bubble just came out of nowhere and engulfed the observatory. And it's not like an observatory for looking at space. It's for some type of weapons. It's like an early warning system for us. And it just bubbled over it and sat there. It stayed there all day, too. It was really weird. And we got other pictures of it. It's just like strange. When you see things like this, is why you always take pictures, because a lot of times you're not going to see things with the naked eye. Your eye's just not good enough to capture things. But the cameras are.
Well, camera lens is much more sophisticated.
Yeah. And you see some of these were taken with 35 mil, some were taken with digital. It just depended what camera we were using that day. And there's literally this is the iCar site, by the way, the guys and girls. There are literally tons of photos here. It's I mean, some of these are real. This is Ed Walters. This is Ed Walters. This is Ed Walters. I mean, but when you go through them, they're all over the place. A lot of them you'll find have captions underneath them. Some do, some don't. I don't know why some don't. See, like these all have captions where they were taken. And, it shows you Santa Monica, California, Vermont, Australia, Baghdad, Arizona, Melbourne, Australia, USA, Oklahoma. Ooh, that's a boring place. United Kingdom, Vermont, Mexico, Taiwan, Netherlands. I mean, so this just, when you go through the site, you'll realize that this is not an American or a Canadian or a Mexican phenomenon. This is a global phenomenon. Everybody on the planet seeing these. And what's more interesting is you're seeing a lot of the same types of UFOs in the USA versus where you see them in Europe or Russia or China or India or anywhere else. It's one of those things.
Right. Trish says, I posted my possible drones on Facebook today. A military helicopter was circulating here, but the drones are here at night, and they were here this afternoon. And she lives in New Jersey, by the way, which is interesting.
It's see, maybe there might just be something going on in New Jersey. Do y'all have like earthquakes up there or volcanoes or anything?
Well, it's New Jersey, it's New York, it's California. I mean, there's stuff that seems to be happening everywhere.
Oh, it's blue places. Oh, I understand now. Okay, never mind. We don't need to talk about that anymore.
Adrian says, any guesses on what may happen next? Basically, post-drone, which seems to be going everywhere.
There's none popping up in the South anywhere. You know why? I can tell you. I'm surprised this isn't true for New Jersey. You know why they don't fly drones around down here in the South? Because coon asses and rednecks will use them for target practice. And your expensive drone will be on the ground somewhere.
That's and he speaks for himself on that too.
I speak for all the kuyons that live in the South and shoot the drone out of the sky. It won't even think about it. And in case y'all didn't know this, If
Yeah.
you're flying over someone's private property, they can actually legally shoot your
Mhm.
drone down. See,
Mhm.
and you know what's funny? See, my house right here, where my 5 acres is, I own the airspace and the mineral rights
Mhm.
above and below. Most people don't even know that when you buy your house, you don't own the minerals, you don't own anything below it or above it. You just own a house in a little plot of land that's sitting on it.
Mhm.
You don't get the mineral rights, you don't get the air rights. Yeah, you have to buy that stuff extra.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's good to have too, by the way, especially where I live.
No.
Looks like Military Central. I'm telling you, just this afternoon, this thing was so low, it was knocking my pictures off my walls.
Mhm.
It's like dun, 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 dun. It feels like it's in the house with you.
Mhm. Yeah.
And you know, and don't get me wrong, we have NASA down the road, and we have the CB base down the road, and then we got the Air National Guard down the road. We also got Eglin Air Force down the road. So there's a lot of military around here. And then, of course, right not far from there, we got all the Alabama and Pensacola stuff, which are all just a few minutes away by
Mhm.
air. It's no time at all. But one thing you know for sure, if you live down here and all of a sudden you start seeing war games happening every day, that means we're going to war.
Mhm.
That means once they all come out, it means we're going to war. During
Mhm.
Desert Storm and all those wars that we were going through in the Middle East, they were flying nonstop, man, fighter jets nonstop all day.
Mhm.
They got cargo planes that come over my house that block out the sun so much it takes like 5 minutes for them to go by. They're
That's
huge.
pretty
Yeah,
crazy.
they're
Um,
huge.
Justin, we air Wednesday nights and Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern until 11 p.m. Eastern. That's where you can catch us. So we appreciate you being here and thank you. And big shout out to my longtime friend, Keith. Very first time. Welcome, welcome, and thank you for being here. We appreciate you.
Welcome, Keith. Welcome to the show, Keith.
There you go.
What part of Florida are you in, Space? I'm always in Florida. I go down there a lot.
There we go. There we are.
I
Um,
uh, I spend a lot of time in Florida. I've got family and friends down there too.
See, this
Uh,
is an interesting comment. Sorry. She goes, Trish used to think they're drones, probably aliens. I don't think a drone can hover for hours without losing power. And you know what's interesting about that? Is that people who have sent up smaller drones that are fully charged, the power is being drained and they are dying right away, literally just falling out of the sky.
yeah, but small drones don't get that much power to start off with. A big drone, a real drone, can fly for lots of hours. They can fly cross country if they wanted to. Like the
Right.
Predator type drones, one thing, they can go all the way across the country on that one charge. Ooh, and then
Mm-hmm.
charge up on the other side. And then some of our drones, by the way, when you see some drones, they're not all electric. Some are fuel powered. Oh, yes. Some of the bigger drones actually use fuels and not electricity. One,
Mm-hmm.
they get faster speeds and they get longer life. Plus, you can refill a drone just like you do an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's things I know a lot of people don't know that because it's a lot of that stuff is still classified,
Well,
but
when you're
it's
looking at a unit that's like the size of a van or an SUV, it's going to take some
but I
power.
know like the guys who do surveying their drones will fly 6 to 8 hours easy. The
Mm,
big drones will fly 12. Some can even fly up to 18 to 24 hours.
mhm,
It just depends on what it is and how much money you spent on it. Because
mhm,
there's a spy drone we use that's basically a bunch of stacked up lithium batteries and a bunch of cameras, and it just
mhm,
flies all over. It just goes aloft and flies.
mhm,
And you know, when you fly with the jet stream instead of against the jet stream, you get a lot more distance at a lot
mhm,
higher speeds. And way less fuel being used, whether it's electrical or something else.
mhm.
Yeah, so
Right.
I did that in the Navy, guys. It's part of what I used to do in the Navy.
Honestly, most of this slap is probably being done on purpose to saturate the world with explainable UAP, and then they put the cat back in the bag the same way Blue Book did.
Well, it is funny that
Yeah.
half the time that's what they were talking about at Congress was,
Yeah.
oh, they were probably drones. They were probably drones. So it'd be nice if if everybody starts proving these are all drones, and it will do some damage to the hearing, but not enough.
Mhm,
Yes, I was on board the USS Nimitz. Yes, insane thing that it was.
mhm,
Um,
mhm. Well, I mean, I think when you're living in Florida, off the coast of Florida, the coast of Florida. I mean, we know, Joe, you and I've done shows on this as well. There's a large base in that area underwater as well. There's said to be a UFO base, is
oh
there not?
well, so I haven't told the story in forever. So a long time ago, I mean, this was probably 25 years. We got a call as a group. It was right when iCar was not even really founded. We were just playing around with the idea. But we had an investigation group online, and we got a call. So we set it up. We all went out there, rented a helicopter to bring us out to the island. So we go out to the island. The guy drops us off. He said, come back in 5 hours, pick us up. And so we got all our equipment. We're sitting there. And it started getting dark, like it was getting ready to rain. I mean, really dark. It's like, oh, shit, we didn't bring no umbrellas or anything. And we look up, and this thing is covered the whole island. This island's probably 3 miles by 5 miles. This is a black triangle, larger than the island.
Isn't that one of yours? Like one of the U.S.?
No, not that one. It's too big to be one of ours. Whatever this big was, this thing was easily 3 miles long, 5 miles wide, probably a half a mile tall. This thing was, I was amazed it could even be in the atmosphere. For a while, I kept thinking, well, maybe it's some kind of blimp. Because it wasn't creating a wake. And I mean, it was huge. So we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, you start hearing this noise. Out of nowhere comes these, just like they came out of the sand. It was like 10 Jeeps. People came running around, military people, threw everybody on the ground, handcuffed everybody, blindfolded everybody, threw us in a truck, and took us away. It was 3 days before we actually seen daylight of any kind. So obviously there's a tunnel that crosses the Tampa Bay Channel all the way to this island, because we didn't get flown back to the mainland, but yet we were back on the mainland. And so we're sitting there. They destroyed all the equipment. I probably, and this was back in the day, I probably had 10 grand in equipment, but it's probably like 80 grand today. And they destroyed everything. They, on the laptops and stuff, which were just pretty much junk back then anyway. It's everything we had, recorders, video recorders, everything. They destroyed everything. It was just like, and then the guy's like, we're only tell you this one time, you're lucky you're even getting out of here. He said the last 3 days of the discussion's been is whether we should let y'all go or send you somewhere else. I was like, what do you mean send us somewhere else? What the hell are you talking about? And pretty much what I got out of that was a big, deep, dark hole somewhere in Area 51 or something. Or just drop them off the side of a plane somewhere and let them splat. They interrogated us. They asked us all kind of questions. 7 of the people who were involved with this never got back in the field ever. It was like 12, 14. Oh, there's a bunch of us. But I know because the guy had to make 2 trips out to the island with the helicopter. It was it was insane. And I still remember this because I hadn't seen daylight. And he says, okay, we got to go across over to the street over here. I'm like, across the street? I'm thinking we're on the island still. He opens up the door. We come out on this roof. We walk across this ramp, down this other ramp, into this other building, and then down the building to the main street. And he said, get them out with your friends. And we've provided y'all airfare home. And I said, what about our equipment? He said, whatever's left, we'll mail to y'all.
Wow.
And we told the story because we were idiots, but it didn't matter. Either people didn't believe us and people just didn't care. And it was all, and that was a tip. That was just a tip we had gotten. And we still track tips even today. We get, I've seen stuff in Florida because of it. I've seen stuff local. I've seen stuff all over the country. When I was in Utah, I've seen stuff because local people up there have had, told me where to go. And, when people call me up and I get to know them a while and they say, hey, Joe, we've been seeing this right here around this time. Why don't you go check it out? And I show up and it's there. We had like that one we went to go check this investigation out near the NASA facility up the road here. And I swear it sounded like horses screaming, like somebody was just torturing the shit out of some animal somewhere. I mean, they were screaming with this crazy, weird pitch. And then all I remember is Linda, myself, and Gia driving in a car. And we were at Waffle House talking about, Linda was laughing her ass off. Gia was so mad she couldn't spit. And I was just in a daze. I was like, so what just happened?
You've had a lot of experiences.
Yes. Well, but because I go put myself in stupid places. It's like the black thing. I would have never experienced a black thing if I went back there nosing around. The night, it's funny, right after Katrina, Jason Wilson, who passed away just recently, but he was down from Texas. Mike was down. He was a conductor. He was down from some way up somewhere in hell in Canada, as he used to call it, some mountain in Saskatchewan somewhere. And he said, "Yeah, I don't live where real people live." I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Yeah, Joe, we don't real people don't live up there." But he was
Mhm.
down, a bunch of other people. But anyway, long story short, we were out in Honey Island Swamp one night running some investigations.
Mhm.
And Jason says, "What the hell is that?" And I look up, and it looks like a silver saucer just cruising along. And then behind it looks like a TR-3B, and behind that looked like an F-18 Hornet.
Mhm.
And I was like, "No, I'm seeing things." So we're trying to get video of this. And Mike said, "I can't. That can't be real." And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know." And then all of a sudden, you could hear these people in the woods moving towards us. So we were actually on NASA's territory. We weren't on the base, but NASA engulfed a lot of land around the base, a buffer zone, they like to call it. So we were in that part of NASA. And these people coming to us, well, I knew it wasn't hunters because we were the only vehicle there. And we were all carrying weapons. But so we said, okay, we're going to leave. And then we seen this other thing turn. So we said, all right, we're going to follow it up the interstate. And then somehow we got interstate. So, well, we'll just go eat. We're just tired. This was crazy. And we all had the weird heebie-jeebie feelings. Anyway, so we're driving along, and I said, "Damn, we passed up the interstate exit. How weird is that?" There's a big, bright, lit up exit. So I turned around, stopped, got off. We got off interstate, and I forgot where we went to go eat. Some restaurant. I think it was a Denny's or something. And there's like 7 hours difference in time.
Mhm.
It was something like 11 p.m. It wasn't even that. I think it was 10 p.m. and then it was 5 a.m.
Mhm.
and everybody was freaked out. But still, I don't remember anything being taken. It just complete memory wiped. There was just nothing left of there. I mean, and we're stupid. We chase things. Linda and I have been out chasing stuff. When we did it, used to do it all the time. She's more insane than I am. She's the one went walking on Eglin Air Force Base and went walking down the stupid floor thingy. I was like, I'm not going down there. What are you crazy? There she went. First off, she hates water. She can't swim. So she goes walking out into the Gulf of Mexico in the middle of the night around a fence to go down this beach to see this house thing that just popped up out of nowhere. And when
Mhm.
we get there, we see this set of stairs going straight down. And I mean, you couldn't see the bottom. So you're talking at least 15, 20 stories just going
Mhm.
straight down. And what does the crazy woman do? Start walking down the freaking stairs. I was like, well, I'm not going to even argue about what happens next after this, am I?
Nope. Just go get her.
I tell you,
Uh,
one of the greatest things I ever seen. She was being nosy one night and jumped the beach and went around. She made a turn, and it's a nudist beach, and there was a bunch of naked military guys standing out there. I don't know if she was thrilled or embarrassed or both. It was funny as hell.
That'd be a
It was
moment.
it
Were you
was too.
still on the Nimitz in '04?
No, I only served from 81 to 85, I believe it was. And
There we
then
go.
I did a 2 year
That's cool.
thing.
Blink 182 concert. Woo! Love it.
Yeah, yeah, so yeah, then I did a 2 year re-up deal because they gave me a big check to do it. So I was like, cool.
Mhm.
But no,
Mm.
I mean, I liked the service. I did. I mean, I really did. I didn't have any problems with it. I met a lot of interesting people. At the time, I wasn't into UFOs, and I kept hearing about it. And see, that's just shows you how my life is. So I kept hearing
Mm.
people all the time, pilots
Right.
all the time, telling me I saw this, I saw that, I saw this, I saw that. I said, "Y'all been smoking that weed again?" I said, "What's been going on around here?" And no, Joe, I'm being honest. We saw it, we saw it. And they would get, you could tell sometimes there was fear in their eyes of some of the shit they saw. And
Mhm.
then when I got out of service, I people just started telling me about seeing things and having contact. Just random people I didn't even know. They just one day I was in a grocery store of all places. And I just got off the phone with a customer and I was like, this lady starts talking about aliens and do you believe in aliens? I was like, not really. And I really didn't at the time. And she's going on and on. And then I was working nights at a convenience store making extra money while I was going back to get my bachelor's, and probably 1 out of every 10 customers came in and told me about some weird experience they had had, and it seemed like everywhere I went, and it was just me. It was, and I got to the point where, and then one day I'm sitting there getting my teeth done, and my dentist, who I've known since I was like knee high to a cricket, starts telling me about what she thinks an alien came into her house. I was like, what the hell? So it just seemed like I was meeting people random, and there was no conversation for this to start. They would just come out with it. It was like I had a beacon on my forehead that said, please tell me about your alien contact, which there was not, of course. And it just kept happening and happening and happening. So I said, you know what? And some of these people that I ended up talking to, I knew were very intelligent, very intellectual people who had big careers that if this got out would cost them their careers and their families. So I couldn't understand why they were talking about it. So it made me start investigating. And the more I investigated, the more questions I had. My first 10 years was pretty much all questions. I drove MUFON people crazy because they didn't know what a freaking abduction was. And I mean, it was insane. And still to this day, we're in the casino. Just about 6 months ago, we're sitting down eating at the buffet. This lady comes up to me and says, I think I've seen you before. And I'm like, well, it's possible. I've been on TV. I've been here. I've been there. I do lecturing and stuff all over the place. I said, yeah. And I told her, she said, no. She said, don't think I'm weird, but I think I seen you on board the ship. And I looked at her. She said, oh, you think I'm crazy? I said, no, I don't. I said, tell me what I was wearing. And she did. And the person sitting next to me, we're not going to mention her name, flipped out. And I was like, no, that's actually what I was wearing. But out of the blue, she was just a waitress at the casino. It's you get these things, you don't know how to do it. Matter of fact, the Cub reporter who did the story on me, Linda and I back, 2000, I think it was, in the Times-Picayune in New Orleans, they gave us a full page. After the interview, she told me that she's definitely been taken. She told me all about it. She said, it's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you. And I was like, well, and by that time, I got to the point where there's something going on. What is it? And then I started thinking, oh, it was government this, government that. It took me a long time. It took me a decade or more to reach maybe it was aliens. I'm methodical, people. I believe in real research. I don't believe in shortcuts. And to these days, I have no doubt whatsoever that people are being taken for nefarious reasons and good reasons and bad reasons and all sorts of other reasons. I have no doubt the government's fully and functionally aware of it, but the government has no idea what the hell's going on. It's the International Community for Alien Research. Matter of fact, they just started working on the site today. They're redoing the site. And we just opened up the organization we haven't brought in a new director in 15 years. So we just laid off a bunch of people, and we had some people retired. And so we're back to looking for new directors and new investigators. I hired 2 yesterday, but it'll be an ongoing thing. Well, we have, like in India, we already have 5 or 6 investigators over there and 2 directors. India's big. We have 1 director in China, but we still got a long ways to go there. But yes, so we are worldwide. We believe in. Well, that's how we found out that the UK is a control group. Shh, do not tell the people who live in the UK this, okay? But they're a control group. No, not in the Commonwealth. In the UK, y'all know the difference. Don't tell them. Yes. Well, what I mean by that is when you listen to people talk about their alien abductions, especially in the United States or Canada or Europe, they talk about it in a particular manner. Well, the UK is still what I call abduction 101. And it's usually full of meanness and hate and spite and let me kick you in the ass and all sorts of kind of stuff. So it's like a control group. They can use it against whatever else they're doing. Well, when people run experiments, they almost always have some kind of control animal, control group, or control study to go against what they're actually studying. Stolly, did you crash Preston's drone? What did I tell you about flying his drone around? It's not the same as flying a spaceship, girl. It's remote control now. When you're on a spaceship, you have a different kind of control. When you're in the damn drone, it's different. You can't be crashing the drone.
There's a drone crash. Let's start bringing up some information on that. But with that being said, we're at the top of the hour, and next week on UFO Undercover, which is Joe's show at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, right? There's going to be an open mic. Yours truly, is going to be joining said panel. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. And Monday night, I am co hosting with Preston Dennett because Dolly's going to be in recovery mode. I'll leave it there. It's not my news. And I don't like to blab it off. But anyway, she won't be there. I will be co-hosting on the
Yeah, she'll be
Light
a
Gate.
lounging aboard the starship out there parked by Andromeda, the lucky witch.
She said one just crashed tonight. Oh boy, where?
Yeah, I'll have to look it up just so I have
Yeah.
it for the show. Yes, no, Michelle will be on with us next Friday, and then I have Giovanni Stevano on with me tomorrow night. On Friday the 13th, we'll be talking about his new thing, the evil. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. Of course, we'll be talking about some other stuff, and we got some alien stuff too. Well, we're out of politics mode now. We're doing just news and then the stuff that we want to talk about. Yes, that's why the show was always named News on the Flip Side.
Right.
So in a political year, we don't have a choice. I mean, when it's political year, it's political year. You got to do it. You got to do it. And we were right on everything this year, so it's another good year for us. But buy a drone. You know what? It's funny. I just pulled the drone out of the closet today. I'm gonna give away as a Christmas present. It's people be safe if you're going to use AI. Remember, you can't copyright it. But it is fun to play with, and there's lots of stuff you can do with it. Don't write books with it and send it off as a
Morristown, New Jersey. Very interesting. New Jersey with all this action, and one crashes where? In New Jersey. Guys, it's something for you all to go and look up. I'm sure if you get
all you people in New Jersey, get out there and look, man. See what the hell's going on.
Yeah, for sure. Trish, that's out your neck of the woods.
Yeah, man. Get one of the big Q beams like I got and shine that sucker down and put your video camera on the damn thing. See
Get on X, Trish. Get on X. There's videotapes and photos everywhere. So not from Morristown.
Whoever wrote me that earlier tonight, I'm not getting on that blue, whatever it's called. Y'all can forget it.
Oh boy.
It's not going to happen. I'm not even going to mention the full name. I'm not getting on there. Nope. And nope. No, it's not going to happen.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I'm comfortable where I'm at right now. Yes, let's just leave it at that. Well, somebody on the network will, I'm sure. I mean,
to you. Sent me a picture. Hold on. Drone footage from last night's drone shoot down or crash in a New Jersey helicopter circling around the crash and fire out what is going on. Okay, hold on. Oh no, that's a signal, so that's not going to help me. Okay, I'm just trying to see. Oh, there's some video. Okay, hold on. I don't know where I can find this. 1 second. I'll see if I can find it. 1 second. 1 second. Drone crash. Let me look and see. Drone crash. Something bound to come up. Drone crash in New Jersey, right? I'm just trying to see. Okay, here it is. So, guys, I'm going to put up video of a drone crashing in Jersey. Boomer posted this to Reddit. Level 10 shutdown went into effect. Okay, we're going to put this up. Here we go, guys. Just before we close up, let's do this. I'm going to play it. Just bear with me. I'm going to come in and start it over. There we go. So then we're getting to this one here. So there's some action definitely going on out there, you guys. I think most of this stuff, so much of it on X, if you really want to check it out, that's where you're going to find most of it. Because you're probably on the UFO Paranormal radio chat, and most of the people, there's about 20 people in the Outer Realm chat. So you can check it out there, and then you'll be able to see everyone else. A background looks like a museum. Thank you, Kaysa. Most of the house looks like that. Thank you very much. Tis my vibe, as they say. So anyway, without further ado, go check it out and see it for yourself. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. My gosh, so many people on all these different platforms. A lot of you guys are shy on Rumble and X, but I could see you all. I know how many are watching, and there's a whole pile of you. So obviously, fantastic segment, and it was. So big thank you to Joe. Like I say, our grand poobah here at United Public Radio, and we'll see him again in the new year. But in the meantime, next week we're expecting to have an open mic. And I know, fun. Thank you, Adrian. Open mic night is fun because we present all kinds of things like this and we all sort of jam about it, and we'll see what's kind of going on in the news. We might hit on some of this again if there's something that's newsworthy, of course. But we're kind of playing around with some of the scheduling next week. But as promised, I'm doing a pre-record on the 19th. It will be 2 p.m. Eastern. And for those who follow us here on the Outer Realm YouTube page and probably Rumble and maybe X, we sort of give a bit of an incentive. So nighttime will have the recording, but if you want to interact with our guest, who will be Mark Ollie, all the way from the UK, and he's going to be talking about different stories from a TV show he used to do in England called Lost Treasures. Of course, we try to keep it lighthearted in December. So we're still playing around with that. But if you want to catch the live version for just that time, and then it gets popped into private mode, you won't see it after that at all. It just gives you that time to get in there and interact and ask questions and so much. How much is Sex Live with interactions? Yes. So good night. And thank you all so very much. Too many channels. I know. But it was great to see you here. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys are just awesome. And we appreciate you all so very much for being here. Thank you. So guys, have a terrific weekend. Remember,
send me chocolate.
Catch me with Precedented Monday night on the Light Gate. Catch me with Joe Montaldo, UFO Undercover Wednesday night. And right after his show, catch me on the Outer Realm. Right? So we're going to go. Let's have some fun. Anyway.
Never heard of that show before.
Oh, shut up, Joe. Good night.